So we roll to Old Car Center Hot Rod. Top end of the racetrack, Rob Hodgson, John Sayer. Give it to Hodgson by a 1/10 of a second. John Sayer couldn't have any answer for him at the top end of the racetrack. And that'll bring us on up to Randy Hermson and Dustin Hunter. Red light start for Steve Wilson. Terry Charles moving on and into the next round of eliminations. So we bring out Jim Banky, we bring out Roland Lowen. The 55 Meteor for Lordco Auto Parts going up against the Plymouth Barracuda. 10-11 to a 12-89. Lowen with the upper hand. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We are going to call Outlaw 275 to lanes 5 and 6. Outlaw 275, lanes 5 and 6, Limited and Real Street. This is your standby call. All right. we got the Junior Thunder Final. So our fifth final of the day. We've gotten the Lightning Final, we've got the Street Final, we've gotten, of course, the Top Fuel Harley and the Pro Mod Bike Finals. We are just waiting now on Junior Thunder. And then we'll have, of course, a 5-peat. So Hunter T and Jack, 897 to a 1405. Two opposites of an extreme of what you can dial on the Junior Dragster. 14 seconds among some of the slower times you can dial in. 897, just shy of the quickest one that you can dial in. One away. Hunter have to be very patient. Will that patience be rewarded? Hunter's carrying 210s in the back pocket. 8th mile mark. He's going to get the job done. Hunter driving around Jack, and he wins. Smoke Fire Thunder for Peden Industries Junior Thunder. Tractors are back out onto the racetrack. And that is because of Canada West Door Slammers right around the corner. So the drone following along behind the tractor. It's got to find something moving to focus in on, and well, it's found one of our rolling tractors. The track prep still very much underway. It's having itself with a, well, the tractor's having a good time out there, making laps around the racetrack as we get set to roll back into the next round of Canada West Door Slammers. Ah, there's my fine flying friend. Tell you what, Mr. Drone, you've been working very, very hard today. I know you've been having a good time of it. Have you been having a good day? I hope you've been having a good day. It's not sure. Ah, it's nodding. There we go. I'm glad you've been having a great day. We've all been having a great day out here at Mission Raceway Park. Well, I'll have you can stop by and say hello for us again. We miss our little chats. Oh, look at that. You got a little dance going up there in the air. So this afternoon's action of Canada West Door Slammers action brought to you by Greenlight Auto Sales Lease and Financing. Looking for a vehicle but worried you won't get approved? Greenlight Auto Financing can help. With decades of experience and a large pool of lenders, their finance team has plenty of options, including in-house financing. If you got a bad credit history, bankruptcies, or repossession, Greenlight Auto Financing can get you approved. With over 1,500 vehicles of all makes and models, they'll make the process smooth and hassle-free. Contact them today, 604-300-4995, or at greenlightautofinancing.ca to get approved today. And of course, a big thanks as well to Winter Harbor Marina and RV for sponsoring the Canada West Door Slammers Association, along with Artex Racing, Paradise Homes Limited, Alpine Backhoe, Associated Tire and Auto, Comox Valley Excavating, TCS Performance Products, Titanium Auto Group, NC Engines, and Traveland RV. So 5 cars remain in competition for Canada West Door Slammers. Hey, attention in the pits, attention in the pits. If you got lights on your race cars, please use them. If you got headlights on your race cars or race bikes, please use them. And we will be able to get you down track safely. Adam DeYoung dials in 828. Grant Howell dials in 770. Pair of Chevys, one of Willys, one of Camaro. Oh boy, look out. Grant Howell right over and near the center line. He's going to be forced to back out, and that gives the win to Adam DeYoung. Grant Howell did a great job there. That was a wise decision to back out of that. That car was headed for the center line for sure. So Adam DeYoung will take that one with a free win. That car launched sideways right off the hitch and got right out of the groove at about the 8th mile mark. Paul Stretch going to have the bye run for the straight line Cavalier. The Mid-Island Racing Cavalier. Listen, I've been awake for 13 hours. That's my excuse. If I have a misspeak, that's my excuse. Ball stretch firing down the racetrack. Right-hand side, and he'll go for the bye run. 722, 191 miles an hour on the 729 dial. We have Brian Ritchie and Darren Buick. The Evans Excavating Nova dials in 859. The Ritchie Racing Engines and Greenlight Auto Sales Chevelle dials in 783. So the final pass in the Door Slammer quarterfinals. Both cars sending it down the quarter-mile mark. Top end of the racetrack. Give that one to Darren Buick. Taking that one quite handily. That'll take us into a test pass. .816, 166 miles an hour for the Door Slammer test pass. And we got the West Coast Pro Modified. It's the semifinal round. Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. Real Street, we need Real Street, lanes 1 and 2. Real Street, bring them on up. Lanes 1 and 2. Real Street to lanes 1 and 2. So first pair up for the semifinal round in Pro Modified. Dave Kowalski will go up against Garrett Richards. These two drivers were facing heads up in the Door Wars 12 final round. Today, though, they might go head-to-head, but it is only to see who races in the semis. Or you'll see who gets into the final, not who takes the win of the overall event. Dayco Ventures 2015 Corvette facing off against the RCD Engineering Shelby. Richards took the win at Door Wars 12. Looking to go for a repeat. So both cars inching forward. Both races pre-staged. 6 inches forward. Let's get this semifinal round underway. Both racers pedaling at top end of the racetrack. Richards is out. Your Door Wars 12 winner will not be able to come home and take it at Smoke, Fire, and Thunder. Kowalski. After it was heartbreak at Door Wars, he'll be into the final again at Smoke, Fire, and Thunder. Absolutely stellar drive. Got the whole shot on that one. 398, 182 miles an hour. Garrett Richards, 4 seconds at 194. Richards caught napping off the tree, and Kowalski is into the final. All right, Steve Horn, Nick Duda, the next pair. The JS Power Sports and SLR Rentals Willys. Firing up alongside Nick Duda for the Performance World Corvette. So Nick Duda waiting a long time to do that burnout, and now Steve Horn's got to be waiting a long time. All right, we're pre-staged. Steve Horn turns it red. Nick Duda will move into the final round to face off against Dave Kowalski. So 2 major upsets in West Coast Pro Modifieds. The Door Wars 12 winner is out, and Steve Horn, a driver that always goes rounds, is out as well. And he can't blame anybody but himself. What a battle on the starting line. A 003 red light to a 002 green light. Horn went 4 seconds with a 187 miles an hour. Nick Duda, 419 at 184. It's got to be Duda's best pass of the weekend right there. So I see myself some Outlaw 275 machinery around behind the tower. Ready to make another hit. Quarterfinal round for Outlaw 275, still with 7 cars in competition. Justin Gallant will have the bye run, and then it'll be Neil Richards and Chris Brenton, Tyler Stammer, and Mandy Brooks, and then, of course, Kurt Thompson and Jeff Whitworth. Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need Pro to the back of staging to be laddered. Pro bracket, we need you in the back of staging to be laddered. Stand by for Vancouver Car Wrap Sportsman. For all you folks still hanging around out there in the stands, you should give yourselves a good round of applause and a good pat on the back as well. You know, the main party may have left, but you guys are the diehard race fans that we love to have out here at Mission Raceway Park. The real MVPs of the grandstands. So once again, we are, of course, going to be looking forward to the Lucas Oil NHRA Northwest National Open coming on up in about 2 weeks or so, alongside a doubleheader JBS Equipment ET Series race. Gonna have the Double V Funny Car Association coming on out. It'll be a great time.
Your movie autism, yeah.
So into Milron, truck body, Outlaw 275. Chris Brenton and Neil Richards going up. It's the quarterfinal round. So Brenton and Richards ready to go at it once again as we roll into the quarterfinals for Outlaw 275. The Cream Dream already fully staged against the SMC race cars Chevy. Boy, Richards struggling off the line. Chris Brenton, 448, 167 miles an hour. And he is going to be putting himself into the semifinals against Justin Gallant.
Absolutely just mowing down the tree, these guys. Brenton was 019, Neil Richards was 014. Unfortunately for Richards, he was up in smoke almost immediately. No chance. Brenton rips off a 448, 167. Nice looking pass, especially for this time of day. That'll set up our next pair. Tyler Stamler and Mandy Brooks.
Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need sportsman to the rear of staging to be laddered. Sportsman to the rear of staging to be laddered. Okay. So we got the Mini-Me S10 going up against the Ken Specialty Auto and Diversified Metalworks Chevy Malibu.
Assuming these are the garbage batteries?
Yeah, they have to be disposed of a special way. So here we go.
So Mandy Brooks. Will be in the right lane. Mandy, formerly local, I believe from Chilliwack, made the move to Alberta a couple of years back. But they like to come back home to do some racing. Mandy Brooks in Ken Sahota's old Malibu. This car has been around for a while. Stamler, I believe, was our #1 qualifier. Or no, what am I talking about? Wrong class. I was thinking of somebody else. Justin Gallant was our #1 qualifier.
Well, Sandler was #2, so you weren't far off.
No, that's true. In Mini-Me. 2000 S10, Gen 2. Mandy over there in the right lane, unloading a little bit of nitrous, getting the bottle pressure down to where they want it.
This might take a minute. When it gets humid, the purges tend to take a little bit longer.
Well, actually, it boils down to how much bottle pressure they came up here with. I know Jerry was big on talking about humidity and nitrous purges, but there's really a lot of other factors that affect it way more than humidity ever will. Size of your purge line, size of your purge solenoid. We got a drag race here. Tyler Stamler coming out on top, 447, 166 miles an hour. Nice looking pass there. So Mandy Brooks goes 475 at 154. She was on a run herself. coming up a little bit short in the horsepower department. So we'll see the S10 pickup come back.
So that'll bring up Kurt Thompson and Jeff Whitworth. The last pass in this rotation for Milron Truck Body Outlaw 275. One of these drivers faces Tyler Stambler in the semifinals. So the precise mechanical 1988 Mustang going up against the 1987 Mustang over on the Lordco lane.
So Jeff Whitworth, go back, well, even back to last year, I think, is when he was first starting to wet his feet, play around with a new car for this class, but used to bracket race a little S10 pickup truck. He slowly made the thing quicker. The last time I saw the truck, it was running deep into the 9-second zone. Next thing I know, comes out with this Mustang. He's going 275 racing. Had himself a big round. They got their first round win, round number 1. Uh-oh. Not sure. Well, now he's got round win number 2. Sean Letson fails to stage the car. Didn't see exactly what happened there, but I do believe he rolled through, and by that time it was too late. So how about a 596 and a $150 for Jeff Whitworth?
And that'll just leave us with Justin Gallant, your number 1 qualifier. He had the bye run in Outlaw 275.
So Whitworth, not too sure what happened there, but he was lacking traction on the starting line, that's for sure. 193 to the 60-foot. From there, it seemed to hook up pretty good because he was doing a $150 by the 8th mile finish line. So he'll be coming back for round number 3. So as I was mentioning just before they left, he got his first round win in the first round, where he faced Dan Rodriguez. That's also who he had to face first round in Spokane. Of course, that race went Rodriguez's way. So Justin Gallant, number 1 qualifier, wound up with a competition single in round number 1. Clearly he won that, which put him through to the bye that he potentially earned by being the number 1 qualifier. So Justin Gallant, Little Bruiser, wants to thank Loop Research, those guys, Rods and Customs, Lordco Racing, Badass Garage, Edelbrock, Precision Turbo. Pretty sure it still says Circle D on the front of the car, so we'll throw them in the mix as well. So Gallant, number 1 qualifier, and in round 1, while on a competition single, reset the Pacific Northwest record for one of these cars with a 4:27. Well, not this time. Heard the big squawk on the finish line. The tires were having no part of it. That's all right. You get away with that kind of stuff when you've earned yourself the bye. So we'll see Justin Gallant coming back for round number 3. And I do believe that's going to do it for round number 2. We'll now roll into Limited Street.
So the semifinal round, 3 cars remain in competition. Brad Thomas and Vanessa Richards go up head-to-head. One of them faces Max Nielsen in the final. I'm sure Max Nielsen is going to be very happy that he's going to get the free pass. He got taken out in a pretty big upset at Door Wars 12.
Attention in the pits, Super Pro. This is your call to the rear of the lane. Super Pro, come on down. We need Super Pro to the rear staging, please.
So the Hawaii 5.0 Fox body brings it up for Fastlane Nitrous Systems, Western Gas, Gulf Race Fuels, Gen 3 Speed, Kelowna Chevrolet. Precision, of course, going alongside Brad Thomas for Lordco Auto Parts and JB Automotive. Pair of Mustang Fox bodies ready to take this one up to the starting line. It's an all Mustang semifinal round. Two of them are Fox bodies. One of them, well, it's a little bit of a newer model.
Attention to the pit, motorcycle final. Motorcycle final. This is your call to the staging lanes. Motorcycle final. Please make your way to staging lane number 1. Once again, motorcycle final. We need you now in lane number 1.
Brad Thomas pre-stage, Vanessa Richards bumping in. Heads up race, Vanessa Richards trying to get in front. Oh my goodness! 6/10 thousandths of a second, and that will put Brad Thomas into the final round against Max Nielsen. Was better on the tree for Vanessa Richards by 200ths of a second, but Brad Thomas with all the horsepower right where it mattered.
So 5:18 getting around to 5:20. Vanessa Richards with a small starting line advantage, just 19 thousandths of a second. Had it been 20 thousandths of a second, Vanessa Richards would have been your winner.
Are you tired yet? Question for you.
So Max Nielsen will be on a single. Nielsen out of Sturgeon, Alberta.
We could probably just mail it to him then.
So Max Nielsen moving on, 5:16 on the 136 miles an hour. So I'm being told, what I'm hearing across the radio is Vanessa Richards is going back into the program. Brad Thomas too quick. Based on the CARS certification, not allowed to run any quicker than 5:20. Went 5:18. Ouch! Joel Smith and Lance Churchuk now. Churchuk. Boy, easy for me to say. Lance in the right lane, dialed 1155. Joel Smith, tower side. In the Beaumont. So 2 green lights, this is on. Joel Smith trying to go 1168. And it is Joel moving on, 1172 on the 1168 dial, good enough. Joel Smith with the starting line advantage, 015 to 061. Gary Nelson and Scott Kolodachuk out there, and your winner is Scott in the right lane. Goes 1072 on the 1040 dial. So Gary Nelson gets there first, but he's under in doing so.
So Rob Aston bringing up the Zen Custom Homes Suzuki once again. Went out, unfortunately, in round 2 of Pro Mod Bike. Now out, just making another test hit before the end of the day. Rob gonna fire that one down track, and how about that? 730 with the 3, 181 miles an hour. That will roll us back, I believe, into Pro Bracket.
So here we go, round number next in Pro Bracket. I do believe this is round number 4. So Chris Heldy, the Yellow Nova. Have not seen this car up here in years. Heldy used to be a regular here at Mission Raceway Park a number of years ago. So good to see him back. Heldy out of Burlington, Washington. And Doug Klassen from Medicine Hat. The 1996 Pontiac Grand Am. Started out life as a front-wheel drive. Now has a small block Chevy underneath the hood. Big tubs in the back. Chris Heldy's moving on. Classic goes red by 23 thousandths of a second. Heldy dialed in at 928. Puts a 929 with a 9 on the reader board. Nicely done. Now Chris Stone and Ross Walker. Seeing as I'm chasing Chris Stone in the points, I'm a big Ross Walker fan right now. So Walker dials 10 seconds exactly. Chris Stone says I'm going 969 in the dart, tower side. Couple of green lights. One a little better than the other. Chris Stone is moving on. Ross Walker only manages 10:05 on the 10 flat dial. Chris Stone to the stripe first by 20 thousandths of a second. Goes 971 on the 969 dial.
See, this is why we as announcers don't pick favorites, because it's almost like a law of nature that if we do, they're going to lose. It happens in my online scene all the time like you wouldn't believe. So Matt Patterson bringing up the Albion Thailand Malfunction Acadian. Taking it straight down Broadway, he's going to go in 10:04, 129 miles an hour for the bye run. And that takes us into Sportsman. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We're going to call Hot Rod to the lanes, Hot Rod to the lanes. Stand by for Canada West Door Slammers and West Coast Pro Modifieds. Jeff McCauley and Ann Copeland, the next pair up. The BDL Automotive Old School Cutlass going up against the 3.6 liter Subaru.
So Ann Copeland was nothing short of awesome in her last round. Put together 6 thou total, if I remember correctly. Well, and she's not going to repeat that feat. That much I'll tell you right now. Can McCauley run her down at the finish line? Yes, he does. 11.75 on the 11.68, good enough to get the job done. So Ann Copeland went from totally awesome with a 6 thou package to cutting a 263 light. McCauley, while he was twice as good, was only that with a 117 reaction time. But it's McCauley moving on. So that'll get him into the semifinal round, I do believe.
That'll bring up Ryan Ledre, the Buffalo Tech Automotive Chevelle, going up against Jeff Homan for the Peden Industries GMC pickup. Homan with the just shy of a 1 second head start, dials in at 12:41. Ledre dials in at 11:60.
Well, there they go, 2 green lights. Just 3 thou separate them by the reaction time. Hear a whole bunch of whomping. That was probably Ryan Ledret, 1169 on the 1160 dial. Taking just 3 thou at the stripe. So that was some good.
That brings up Martin Rochelle, dials in 1009 in the 1978 Malibu. He goes up against Ryan Johnston, the Flying Hawaiian. For Investors Group and Nasty Fish Racing, that 1963 Corvette dials in 839 as we roll to Rad Torque Systems Super Pro. So Ryan Johnston will move into the semifinal round, knocking out Martin Rochelle. Got around by 19th out. Ryan Johnston's Corvette finally finding some luck. That car has not been able to go too many rounds this year. Glad to see him finally making some rounds in the biggest event of the year. We bring up Emma DeBricuse and Jeremy Soares. Pair of dragsters. DeBricuse, sponsored by B&D Lift Trucks, Shawnigan Trucking, Competition Tree Services, Straight Line Race Cars, and Grandma and Grandpa. 1,894 racing against Jeremy Soares with the Soares Transportation and Quick Tech Race Cars. Cameron Dragster dials in 737. Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need door slammers, lanes 5 and 6. Door slammers, bring them on up, lanes 5 and 6. Both dragsters away. Emma DeBricuse out in front. Jeremy Soares doing the chasing. Top end, give it to Jeremy Soares. Getting around Emma DeBricuse by 23 thou. And that will move us on to Craig Johnson. Craig Johnson with the bye run. Oh, sorry, with the comp single. 1053 to a 912 dial. BC Scale Johnson Customs exhaust for the Malibu wagon. Against the JBS and JS Power Sports Ford Roadster. So Craig Johnson gonna take the bye run. So with that, we are unfortunately gonna have to make the call on door slammers to stand down door slammers. You will be finishing your race at a later date. Candles by door slammers, you will not be running the rest of your race tonight. You will be finishing it at a later date. So door slammers, stand firm. You can feel free to go about your business, as we'll be finishing your race at a later date. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need Bubba Speed Shop, Pro Bracket to the lanes. Pro Bracket, we need you back to the lanes, ASAP. Pro Bracket to the lanes, ASAP. And we're gonna get Sportsman on a standby. So once again, we are still trying to see how much with this program we can fit in. We ask that you please be punctual with your lane calls. So we need Pro Bracket down to the lanes yesterday. Matt Warner, Terry Charles going up, 1060 to a 1008. The Mercury for Linden Service Center going up against the Chevy Bel Air. So Terry Charles running out down track, chasing after Matt Warner, quarter-mile mark. Oh, it'll be going the way of Charles. Matt Warner going under by 0.02 of a second, so Charles is into the next round of competition, and that will bring on up Rob Hodgson going up against Veronica Hodgson.
Well, this is a pretty cool pair, but back to Terry Charles. He's representing the cartel well tonight. Mark Brenzinger's looking down, and he's got a big smile on his face right now. So here we go. Husband and wife, Rob and Veronica. Question you got to ask yourself, does Rob know what's good for him? You know, you got to really weigh things here. While Rob had the better light, that was probably a bad decision on his part. And he turns the wind light on down there at the finish line. 1063 on the 1061 dial. Veronica goes 1202 on the 1193. Couldn't produce the number. Hodgson also had a sizable starting line advantage. And Rob Hodgson scores himself a bye into the final round. Now Terry Hoogston, Jim Benke and Randy Hermsen. Jim who? Wow. So one of these drivers with over 1/10 of a second advantage on the starting line. And guess who it is? Not your winner. Jim Benke absolutely got his lunch handed to him on the starting line. Randy Hermsen was 0-11 on the tree. Then at the finish line, I guess trying to make it tight, allowed Benke to get there first by 0.07 of a second. Ouch. Oh yes, now these two are friends, and they tend to like to really rib each other. Hey, we're going to give ProMod a 15-minute standby or a 10-minute standby. Let's just go with 10. 10 to 15. I don't know. I think you're giving the wrong people the option there. We're going to give you a 10-minute standby. So Benke winds up 13 on the 11 dial. And I think this is one round that Jim Benke is not going to let Randy Hermsen forget about anytime soon.
Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We're going to call Vancouver Car Wrap Sportsman and Rad Torque Systems Super Pro back to the lanes. That's going to be, once again, Sportsman and Super Pro back to the lanes. ASAP. Sportsman and Super Pro back to the lanes. Hey, once again, we have made the call for Radtor Systems Super Pro and Vancouver Car Wrap Sportsman to the lanes. And again, we are asking that you please be as punctual as possible. So Radtor Systems Super Pro, pronto, please and thank you. To the staging lanes. Radtor Systems Super Pro, to the staging lanes. So it looks like we got Vancouver Car Wrap Sportsman ready to go for the semifinal round.
Well, Kevin McCauley's got himself the bye into the final round. So he's a guaranteed player in the final round. Now, we just need to decide who he's going to face in said final round. It's either going to be Ryan Ledrette or Nick Douglas. Ryan, Mr. Muffler Tech. Dialed in at 1160, tower side, behind the wheel of his Chevelle. Nick Douglas, the reigning sportsman champ, here at the Titanium Strip at Mission Raceway. Dialed 1227. It is 2023 Super B. Couple of green lights. This one is on. Heard a lot of whomping, but maybe a little too much. Nick Douglas gets by, takes the stripe by 11 thou to come up 12.29 on the 12.27 dial. Ryan Ledrette had the starting line advantage by 25 thousandths of a second, but I do believe he did a little bit too much whomping up there at the top end and gave that one back to Nick Douglas. So it's going to be Nick Douglas facing this guy, Kevin McCauley, in the final round coming up shortly.
Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need Old Car Center Hot Rod to the rear of staging to be laddered. Old Car Center Hot Rod to the rear of staging. And we are also going to make the official call for the West Coast Pro Mod finalists to the lanes. That is Pro Mod finalists to the lanes. And we'll also throw in Outlaw 275, Limited Street and Real Street. So that is once again, Hot Rod, West Coast Pro Modifieds, Outlaw 275, Limited Street and Real Street. All of you to the lanes, ASAP.
So a couple of Novas. Mal Patterson, Chris Heldy. As I was mentioning last round, Chris Heldy was a regular racer some years ago here at Mission Raceway Park, but we've seen next to nothing of Chris Heldy in quite a number of years. Well, welcome back. He's going rounds, down to 3 cars in pro bracket. Or no, maybe down to 4. Mal Patterson turns it red by just 1/1000th of a second. Chris Heldy was there for the taking with a 1:48 reaction time. Oh man, tough break for Mal. He's dialed 10:03, finish line off the gas and coasting, doing 10:23. Well, okay. So it looks like Chris Stone does have the bye. So Chris Stone will be working on a 969. He's final round bound. 967, 136 miles an hour for Chris Stone. So that sets up your final round. It'll be Chris Heldy and Chris Stone. And I will guarantee you that these two have met up before.
That'll roll us into the Rad Torque System Super Pro semifinals. Craig Johnson and the Flying Hawaiian ready to go at it against one another. Ryan Johnston for, of course, the Nasty Fish Racing and Investors Group Corvette race of the Johnson's Customs Exhaust BC Scale Malibu Wagon. 10:53 to an 8:40. So Craig Johnson ready to stage it up, going alongside Ryan Johnston. It'll be a Chevy on Chevy battle, Corvette versus a Malibu wagon. One of these racers faces Jeremy Soares' dragster in the final round.
So Johnson foot braking in the family wagon, dialed in at 10:53. Ryan Johnston dialed 8:40 in the Corvette. There goes Craig. Johnson waits it out. Couple of green lights, one of them considerably better than the other. I think you can see which way this one's going. Johnson with lots of room to get off the gas, make sure he stays double safe on the 10:53 dial with a 10:63. Ryan Johnson did not do himself any favors on the starting line, was 2:28 in the reaction time department. That's not going to win you too many rounds. So it's going to be Craig Johnson going to another final round in Super Pro or electronics while foot braking off the bottom bulb. How about that? So he's going to face this guy, Jeremy Soares. Soares essentially on a freebie. He's chosen 737 as his dial. Now his options are, you just simply stage the car, get credited for the win, keep it cool. Or if you want some data or another good look at the tree, whatever, he can make a run. It's entirely up to him.
Knocking the tree down with a 003 light. He's going to take that by run straight through to a 7:38 at 181 miles an hour. So Craig Johnson v. Jeremy Soares in the final.
The wall on the return.
It was on like the top, very top end when you turn off.
Yeah.
All right, attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We have ourselves with a lost yellow inflator, and a racer would very much like it back. So whoever has managed to pick up a yellow inflator from the top end of the racetrack, please see that it finds its way, preferably up to the second floor of the timing tower, or to Alamon's pits. So we roll into the Hot Rod semifinals. Jim Banky and Terry Charles going at it 10-11 to a 10-09. The Barracuda going up against the Chevy Bel Air. Once again, we were looking for the West Coast Outlaws of the lanes. We need limited street to lanes 1 and 2. Outlaw 275 to lanes 5 and 6. Limited street 1 and 2. Outlaw 275 to lanes 5 and 6. So Jim Banky facing off against Terry Charles. And Charles turns on the red light. So Jim Banky, looking like he'll go against Rob Hodgson in the final.
So Benke with the easy win off the gas and coasting well before the finish line. He got all the data he needs with which to head into the final. So Rob Hodgson scores the bye here at 3 cars. So he's going to face Jim Benke in the final. Chooses not to make a run. Just stages the car, backs it out.
So while we're onto this track prep, want to give a quick shout out as well to the MRP Lordco TV. We just crossed over 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. So a big thank you to everybody for tuning along and for following us on what has been a very wild journey throughout the course of today. So just for those that are looking forward to some of the finals we got coming on up, just a reminder again that the Door Slammer final will not be run tonight. That will be run and finished up at the next race, and it will, just getting in, it will be the same for the Old Car Center Hot Rod final. They're also not going to be finishing that tonight. They will be finishing that up in the next race as well, and that should be at the Lucas Oil Northwest National Open. That will be coming on up on the first weekend of September. So you can swing on out, and we'll be finishing up those races then, if all goes according to plan. Big asterisk on that. So we got the West Coast Pro Modified Final just waiting around the corner. As well as that, I think we got the Outlaw 275 semifinalists, and then the Limited Street and Real Street finalists as well. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Real Street also in their semifinal round. All right. This is what we have finally been waiting for. It's the West Coast Pro Modified semifinal. The last time Dave Kowalski was out here, it was against Garrett Richards. He took him out in the semifinal round, but at Door was 12, Kowalski Did his burnout, couldn't find reverse. Today, he looks to see if he can go up and best Nick Duda in the Performance World Corvette. On paper, you can definitely tell that Kowalski is the favorite to win. Put down a 398 in qualifying. Nick Duda was only good enough for a 470. So on paper, this should be a cakewalk for Kowalski. But in Pro Mod racing, so rarely is it ever decided on paper. So 2 Corvettes. It's new versus the old. Dave Kowalski. Will he take the win? Or will it be the upset of Nick Duda? Burnout's complete. Nick Duda bumping forward. So Nick Duda, pre-stage. Kowalski slithering the Corvette forward. Six inches, the West Coast Pro Modified Final. Pedal fast, both cars side by side to the line. Give it to Kowalski. He takes over the Gremlins from Door Wars, and Dave Kowalski walks away with a Wally in the West Coast Pro Modifieds. What a wild ride, taking the win by 0.03 of a second in about 100+ mile-an-hour pedal fest. Got him on a hole shot, 4:16 at 178 miles an hour. Duda on a 4:12 at 182. The race decided with a 0.07 of a second jump off the line. That would have been a cakewalk, but Kowalski spun the wheels. But boy, oh boy, did they overcome a lot to take that win this afternoon. From the outhouse to the penthouse for Dayco Ventures. Are still not done. More cars all waiting behind us in the water box. So we got the semifinal round for Mill Rod Truck Body Outlaw 275 coming around the corner. Justin Gallant bringing it up against Chris Brenton. The Lil Bruiser Mustang facing off against the Chevrolet over here, TCS side. So SMC Race Cars brings it up over here, TCS side. The Loop Research, those guys, Rods and Customs, Lordco Racing, Badass Garage, Edelbrock, and Precision Turbo over there on the Lordco side. Pay attention to the pits. Pro and Super Pro finalists, we need you to the lanes. Pro and Super Pro finalists, bring them on up ASAP to the lanes. Once again, Pro and Super Pro, bring them up as soon as you possibly can to the lanes. We are waiting for you. So Chris Brenton and Justin Gallant, one of them moves to the final. Oh, both cars all over the shot, and that's gonna give it to Justin Gallant, taking that one into Pedal Fest, 452, 167 miles an hour. Brenton knocked out in the semis. So your number one qualifier into the final. Does he go up against Tyler Stamler in the Mini-Me S10? Does he go up against Jeff Whitworth in the Precise Mechanical Mustang? So we do have a car that is currently stopped on the racetrack at the top end. So safety crew is going to try to quickly get out there to push that car off. Tyler Stamler and Jeff Whitworth waiting behind here in the behind the staging beams. So reports are that they have cleared off at the top end. So we are going to get set to fire these cars back up and send them. Oh boy, wheels up for Whitworth. Stambler drives around him and he'll move to the final. Jeff Whitworth got the whole shot, but took those wheels up to new heights, slammed back down to terra firma, and Tyler Stambler drives around him for the So Max Nielsen brings it on up against Vanessa Richards, the Hawaii 5.0 Fastlane Nitrous Systems, Western Gas, Gulf Racefields, Gen 3 Speed, Kelowna Chevrolet, and Precision Auto Parts. Fox Body Mustang dialed in against Max Nielsen for the final round in Limited Street. So Chase crews were just attending to an incident up at the top end of the racetrack, but that incident is fully under control. And as we understand, everybody is okay as well. So Max Niels and Vanessa Richards still waiting patiently for the final round back here. Right, incident up at the top end is clear. We're gonna fire up your limited street final. Two heavy hitters, Max Nielsen and Vanessa Richards. So the 2000s Mustang going up against the Hawaii 5.0 Fox Body. Rocco's Diner Limited Street ready to fire. Max Nielsen already pre-staged. Vanessa Richards bumping her way in. This is going to be a battle of Limited Street Titans. Oh, Vanessa Richards doesn't leave! And Max Nielsen with the walk-off win. In Rocco's Diner Limited Street, he gets the Wally. Vanessa Richards going to roll to a stop before 330 feet. Safety crew's going out, checking out to see what's what. So we'll be rolling next into your Jerry's OK Tire Real Street semifinal round. Rob Monroe Sr. will be looking to go up against Joel Smith, and then Scott Kalati-Chuck will be out there as well. So Rich is going to drive away under her own power. We have, and then everything is going to be in the finals. So Rob Monroe Sr. fires the White Knuckle Racing Model A, dialed in against Joel Smith and the Zap Strap Racing Pontiac. $11.68 for the car in the right lane. And for Rob Monroe Sr. over here on the tower side, it'll be an $8.79. Once again, for all of the class winners tonight, we are going to be doing winner interviews for anybody that wants them. If you got to run, that's totally fine. You got to go. But we will be doing all the interviews for folks that are willing to stick around after the racing program and come give a word with us. Monroe out trying to chase after Joel Smith. He's got a 7th thou advantage, and he's into the final. So Rob Monroe Sr. will go up against Scott. He's just going to plan to break the beams, and he'll call it a day. So Scott Kalati-Chuck breaking the beams. Backing his way out. And that is it. It is all finals from here on out. And we'll start with the sportsman final. Don't worry, Dave. We see you down there. We'll come down and give you a word once our bracket finals are done here while we're waiting for the Outlaw guys to cool off. We'll be down there soon. Don't you worry. We haven't forgotten about you. Kevin McCauley brings out the Beadle Automotive Old School Cutlass. Dials 1168. Nick Douglas, your defending champion, dials in 1227 in the Dodge Charger. Down track, Macaulay and Douglas side by side for the Vancouver Car Wrap Sportsman Final. It's Nick Douglas taking home the trophy from Smoke, Fire, and Thunder. So, Sportsman in the books, we roll to the Bubba Speed Shop Pro Bracket Final. Chris Held and Chris Stone, 929 to a 967. Bubba Speed Shop Pro Bracket Final underway. Held versus Stone. Top end of the racetrack. It'll be Held. Chris Stone taken out in the Pro Bracket Final. Chris Held walking away with the win. Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need real street finalists to the lanes ASAP. Real street finalists to the lanes ASAP. Craig Johnson, Jeremy Soares, the next pair up. The BC Scale Johnson's Customs Exhaust. The Malibu Wagon going up against the Soares Transport and Quick Tech Race Cars Cameron Dragster. 10:56 to a 7:38. Jeremy Soares in hot pursuit of Craig Johnson, trying to get around him. Top end of the racetrack, doesn't make the pass. Double breakout, it's Johnson! Johnson only 5th out under the mark. Jeremy Soares got there by 7th out, but went under by 28. Craig Johnson wins it in Rad Torque Systems Super Pro. So once again, we have called for the Real Street finalists to the lanes. As soon as possible, please. So just 2 more cars waiting around the corner. It'll be the real street final. And then we'll pop on down to interview all the winners that are looking for it. It's late on a Sunday night, but your 30 seconds of fame, it is waiting there for you. It'll be Scott Kaladichuk going up against Rob Monroe Sr. Another notice, the Outlaw 275 final will not be run tonight. So whether or not, what the outcome of that race is going to be, we'll let you know once we know what it is. So this will be the last final of the day, with Door Slammers and Outlaw 275. The final results of that will be left a mystery for the time being. Door Slammers will be finished up at the National Open. And of course, the Outlaw 275, the debate going on there is whether or not this race will be finished at a later date, or will we be seeing Justin Gallant as the winner after Tyler Stambler's vehicle had issues at the top end when they last came down. That, again, a discussion for another time. But for now, Snoopy brings out the Mustang. Scott Kaladichuk dials in 1040. The White Knuckle Racing Model A, Robin Rosino dials in 879. The last final of the night. The final, down track, top end of the racetrack. Rob Monroe Sr. finally takes the White Knuckle Racing Model A to another win. And with that final for Jerry's OK Tire Real Street, that is a wrap. To all the racers that are still around in the paddock, before you leave, there was an RJS radio headset left behind on the starting line. That is an RJS radio headset that is behind on the starting line. I want to give a big shout out again to all the Mission Raceway Park staff. This was a mammoth undertaking to get this program in today. And of course, a big thanks to all of the racers for coming on out and sticking around. We're going to be heading down to the winner's circle now to conduct some interviews. But for now, we'll hopefully be seeing all of you folks back out in 2 weeks when we return for the Lucas Oil NHRA Northwest National Open. What a weekend it was. We thank you for joining us for Smoke, Fire, and Thunder.